Okay, hi everyone. This is Corey from the Knitting All the Blankets YouTube channel. A long time no see. I think the last time I did a video was in February, maybe early March. I honestly don't remember. Um, and my shirt looks all like crazy, so I'm trying to fix that. So it's been a while. This is a video I've been wanting to make. And the reason why it's taken me so long to make it is because last night I finally finished the project I wanted to show you. So, this isn't going to be a long video. For those of you that have watched my more recent videos, you'll remember that I am currently pregnant. I'm right at the end. Like, today is 39 weeks and 6 days. Today's June 4th. Tomorrow's June 5th. That is my due date. So, yeah. So I'm just going to talk to you guys about a few projects that I've been working on and what I think my plans are going to be for the rest of the year once my son's here, because I don't think I'm going to be working on much. So, first thing we're going to talk about, which one should I do first? Okay. So I've had this blanket design in my head for years. Like, I've always called it like the meditative walk or the meandering walk. And the idea of it was you go across in a strip, you turn and come back this way, kind of like the idea of the Frankie Brown 10-stitch blanket. But when you get back here, instead of just keep going around, because I didn't want to do that anymore, I'm already doing that with the mini skein 10-stitch blanket. This is a design that I've been wanting to try to figure out for a while. But when you come back this way, instead of it going around and around and around, it comes back like this, so it kind of snakes back and forth. Frankie Brown has a pattern called the corner blanket, where it kind of does that, and it's not even a blanket. It's you do a square and you make so many squares, you sew them together, and you can make it a blanket. Where you start in the corner and you kind of zigzag back and forth. And zigzag's not even the correct word, because she does have a zigzag pattern. That is, I haven't even attempted that one yet either. So what I decided to do, I think it was February, and I may have showed this on the last one, and I honestly don't remember, so if I did show it, I'm sorry. Again, between pregnancy brain, I've been lucky enough to be able to work from home during this whole COVID-19 fiasco. And so not really leaving my house for the last 3 months, almost 3 months, has gotten to me a little bit. When it comes to what day it is, and even with my planner, there are days I still don't know what day it is. But what I did is I cast on 10 stitches, because I'm still doing the 10 stitch idea. I put progress keepers at 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 rows. And then I knit a strip. This is a scrappy blanket. As you can see, that's a whole bunch of like little scrap that is all not... I didn't do the magic yarn knot ball thing with this one. I've had these balls of scrap yarn ready for years for this project, so I'm just grabbing one and going with it. So I'm right here. This strip is about 50 inches long, and now the next part of it that I'm going to do is the first corner that will turn it back on itself, and I can come back this way. Let me look at it. Yeah, I'm holding it upside down actually, but it's the same idea. That way when I get back to this strip and I'm on the second row, I can turn it back and start the third row. If that just sounds really, really confusing, I've got a something else that I'm going to show you real quick. that will probably help illustrate it. So that was to get this started, and I got that done. So, because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to knit that strip. And the project bag I'm using is a little toolbox bag that's just open with, I folded up the strip. There's the ball of scrap yarn. I've got a tin of progress keepers in here, which those could probably go right there so I don't lose them. I've got one of these finger row counter things that come in handy. Oh, the size needles I'm using Clover Bamboo number US size 6 4mm DPNs. Hope that's there you go. And I also have a little notepad in here and a pen for notes. That's all that's in this project bag. Oh, and there's the other DPN. I love using tool boxes, honestly, mainly because they're cheap and have a ton of pockets. Yes, I know I could get pretty knitting themed project bags. This thing cost me 10 bucks. And price point is usually an issue for me. My son just decided to poke his foot out at me and say hello. So hi sweetheart. Okay, so the next project that I've been working on to aid with this one is, instead of doing what I wanted, trying to figure out that corner and on the big project, I decided to make a smaller version of it so that I didn't have this big long strip. Because there's nothing more defeating than to try to do something on a big long strip or bigger project for the first time only to be defeated. I remember feeling that when I made the Frankie Brown original 10 stitch blanket in those camos. If you look back in my videos, you'll see it. Because I remember trying to learn how to do the corner. I probably frogged it so many times, and luckily, it was so small, because if you've ever done the Frankie Brown original 10 stitch blanket, it starts off small and then just gets progressively bigger and bigger. Well, with that meandering meditative walk, I don't know what I'm going to call it eventually, that strip's so long that's not something I wanted to do. I didn't want to have to deal with that much. So what I ended up doing is I cast on another 10 stitches on a needle, and I essentially started working pattern. And this is the way I'm doing this, is I have taken the Frankie Brown corner pattern. Here it is. It is free on Ravelry. It's the 10 stitch corner. I'm using her reverse corner instructions. I am no way claiming this as my own. If I do end up writing an actual blanket pattern for this, she will be credited for the corners, and it will be a free pattern on Ravelry. I have no plans, and I feel, and morally, ethically, and hell, maybe even legally at this point, because I've been told some stuff about knitting pattern copyright and it doesn't make sense to me. But as far as I'm concerned, morally, ethically, and legally, I have no right to try to charge money for a pattern where I am literally using her instructions for part of it. So, don't sue me, please, Frankie. Okay, so what I did, the yarn I'm using for this is, it's just some cheap Lion brand DI yarn. I've got several different colors of it. I've got white and purple, which I've been using. I've got it in a pink. Hang on, something just appeared on my phone. All right, sorry about that. And brown. Actually, let me go take care of that real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, cool. It's been so long since I've recorded. I was really hoping I didn't just screw that up. Anyways, so it's just some cheap acrylic that I've had in my stash, and because I didn't want to use, I hate to say this, good yarn for this project. So what I did is I cast on 10 stitches and I just knit the strip to here. I did the double open corner and came back this way. And here is where the first reverse corner starts. And I've got progress keepers everywhere, marking stuff, reminding me where the beginning is, all that. And I've had some mess ups. You can see where this row kind of goes out beyond a little bit. And then you'll see in the next one where it doesn't quite reach. I'm still playing around with when the best point to start the reverse corner is. So that's that reason. So then I did the reverse corner to get me to the third row. And at that point, because it was white, here, let me just hold this up against me like this. I switched over to purple for a change and came out this way. And yeah, you can see it right there, that where the, I wish it had been joined a little better at the edge. So I'm just working on figuring that out. So in doing that, that reverse corner comes back this way, and I did this one, which I had the same problem. Sorry. So, and I've done this row, and I am at the point now where I believe, in counting back in ridges and everything, that I believe I'm in the correct spot to do the next reverse corner. Essentially, the way I'm doing this is you do the double open corner for your first corner, but every other corner after that is a reverse double corner, because it has instructions on how to attach to the row above, whereas the open corner does not. The open corner just assumes it's on the outer edge. You also, you may be looking at this and going, hey, that looks like it's got that ridge that Frankie Brown stuff sometimes does. And it does. The ridge is actually like every other row, and there's a reason for that. It's because when I'm doing the joining rows, I've gotten into the habit of holding it like it was the original 10-stitch blanket to join properly, because that's the join I know, and it's the join I like, and I know it's a good, strong join. And it does create the ridge. On the original blanket, the original pattern, that ridge is always on the same side. With this one, because it's on every other row, so it's ridged on both sides. Some people may not like that, and such is life. For me, it's a blanket. So yeah, this one is an experiment. I want to do a couple more reverse corners on it before I dive back in to this one and get started on that one, because that one is that scrappy project. It is possibly going to be a blanket for my parents if they like it at the end, because I understand some scrappy projects aren't for everybody. I have given my parents an out of, at the end of the day, once the project's done, if they don't like the color combination and stuff like that, that's fine. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I'll use it here. I mean, I've got this, I've got shawls and stuff scattered around my living room to keep people warm. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Just get a drink real quick. Okay. So, that's what I was working on a lot, February and March. And I was working on this on the weekends. I was spending the week working on the project that I'm going to show you in a minute, the one that I finished last night, and I was working on this on the weekends. Mainly so I wouldn't go 2 years without picking up that reverse pattern again, because the notes that I have been taking on this and the notes I wrote myself when I first tried this pattern several years ago, like it's taken me about 3 years to really understand the reverse double corner pattern. And some of you may roll your eyes at that and think I'm ridiculous, but it was like that. It really was. And one of the last time I worked on it before 2020 was 2018. And I had written a note to myself because I figured out and gotten the reverse double corner correct. And I had written a note to myself thinking that, okay, I'll be back to this within a couple of weeks, because I was working on another project that I wanted to finish. Well, I didn't pick it up again for 2 years, almost 2 years. So that note really helped when I was looking at it going, so what did I do last time to get this right? Because let me tell you, lifelines have become my best friend. I tore that first reverse corner out so many times because I kept messing it up on this, and I fished out the note and read what I had written to myself in 2018, and I'm like, okay, let me just follow my own advice. And I did, and it worked. So I like that it worked, and it has worked, other than, not knowing exactly where to start the reverse double corner, how far back to start it. I'm still figuring that out. That's the part that's hanging me up. I'm getting hung up on. I can do the reverse double corner now because I've done it. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. I've done it 3 times. And I don't know how much farther I'm going to take this. In making it as practice. So we'll see. But yeah, sometimes it takes taking a break from something for a while, like years, before you can figure it out, because something finally clicked. And I don't know, maybe it was the mental and emotional upheaval of COVID-19 and being at home and just needing something to distract myself, that I was finally just able to focus and get it. I don't know. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to talk to you about today, I've mentioned that I'm pregnant. Our son's due anytime. I'm looking forward to meeting him. Having conflicting emotions. It's, the anxiety, the excitement, all the emotions that come with your first child. So, anyways, this was originally going to be another baby blanket for him. My husband picked out the yarn. I had done the Um, the Bernat Baby yarn one in the Chicks and Ducks colorway. Or is it Chicks and Bunnies? I don't remember. I believe that was on, I had that completed in the last video, or it was mostly completed. It's packed away in the hospital bag, ready to go when it's time to go to the hospital, so I'm not going to go get it. But I love that blanket. And my husband had mentioned seeing a yarn colorway that he liked in the past. And I'm like, okay, well, if we can find it again, because sometimes you can't. Because at the time, he said he showed me, and I said, oh, okay, that's nice. Do you think I took a picture of it? No. I really just need to do that. From now on, if my husband picks up a thing of yarn and says, hey, I like this, I need to have him hold it and me take a picture of him with it. That way, I can try to remember it. Because I know there's a brain in here, but the brain isn't working. Okay. So when I first cast this blanket on, it is my own design. I will be writing it up and hopefully posting it for sale on Ravelry soon. It's going to look similar to the cowl blanket and to the cowl pattern I have. And it is similar. It's different in a way. But after I got through the first cake, I was using Caron cakes in the red velvet colorway. I bought 4 cakes of this. I essentially cleared the shelf at Michael's. I used 3 of them in this blanket and then a little bit out of the 4th. So I've got like an almost full cake, 4th cake that I have no idea what I'm going to do with now. But anyways, once I got through the first cake and I laid it out to measure it, I had my husband come help me measure it because tape measures sometimes take 2 people to operate for some reason. And he's like, this is going to be huge if you do it the way you want it, you're thinking. I'm like, yeah. So we did math real quick. And he went and measured the crib. And we have that crib that will eventually convert into a toddler bed. He's like, if you go through all 4 things of yarn, it might fit his toddler bed. So instead of it being a baby blanket, he now has what I'm calling a toddler blanket. So the ends are not woven in. I literally finished this at like 9:30 last night. And I was just so happy to have finished it. So I'm going to weave the ends in tonight. So, and it's huge. You can see all the ends. It's beautiful. It's soft. It's cuddly. I do need to wash it, of course. But I'm just so happy that that's done. That has been a big help with distraction during this time as well. I recast it on in February, March. I don't know. I don't even have my notes with me. I just decided to sit down and film this to get it filmed. So I recast it on either late February or March, and I finished it last night. With the exception of this that I've been working on the weekends, I've been knitting monogamously on that since I cast it on. So like 4 months worth of knitting to get me that blanket. So I'm very happy about that. All right, I have been like gabbing for almost 25 minutes, and my phone's going to cut me off at 30. So So real quick, plans for the rest of 2020 knitting. With baby coming at any time, right now the project that I'm going to be working on, I may go back to working on this. I'm also thinking about picking up my mini skein 10 stitch blanket right now, because even though that's my end of year kind of fall Christmas time knitting, by the time that time comes around this year, I will have a 4 to 6 month old, and 4 to 6 months they're starting to get a little mobile and they know how to grab things. So I'm thinking that maybe getting some work in on that, because that's a passion project for me, and I'd really hate for my kid to mess it up and all that. So I may, yeah, I'm talking about you. Being a little wiggly butt right now. Get some work in on that, you know, before he gets here, and maybe if I feel like knitting after he gets here. Because of COVID, I don't think there are going to be any craft shows this year, and I may not even participate even if Fall Fest is this year, because at the time Fall Fest will be here, I will have a 4-month-old. I don't know. I'm not committing to that right now, and even though I have plenty of dishcloths in stock, I'm not going to put that pressure on myself. I still have my dishcloth yarn holder basket set up, so that if I do feel like knitting dishcloths, I can. You know, maybe I'll reverse it. Maybe I'll do mini skein 10 stitch right now and the other scrappy blankets, and once October, November, December hit and my son's more mobile, I'll go back to knitting dishcloths. And because if he messes that up, who cares? I don't. All right, so maybe I'll check in again in a few months. We'll see. I hope everybody's doing well, staying safe, staying healthy. So yeah, take care, and hopefully I'll film again in 2020. So I make no promises, but bye.